Welcome everyone to the IMA Company Showcase with GiftNow, rethinking the corporate gifting and incentive experience. Thank you all for joining, and thank you to GiftNow for presenting. Now, before we get started, I'm just going to cover a few housekeeping items. You want to go to the next slide. Right, so today's showcase will be recorded and available on the IMA website following the session. We'll send an email out to all registered attendees when that recording is available. All attendees will be muted throughout the entire session today, but we do encourage you to ask questions through the question box on your Zoom control panel. Questions will be addressed throughout the presentation. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our presenters for today's showcase. John Gretsch, Chief Commercial Officer, and Alex Morgan, Vice President of Corporate Solutions. John and Alex, I'll turn it over to you.
Great, and thanks so much for having us, and of course to the audience for making the time to hear us talk a little bit about the idea of reimagining the corporate gifting and incentive experience. And this isn't a new topic, it's not a new category. There's not been tons and tons of innovation in it, at least since I've been closely paying attention to it. One, as a consumer of these sort of gifting campaigns, as an employee at companies, and getting the chance to see how many different companies reward and incentivize their employees, as well as from a marketing perspective to do the same thing with your customers. So we're excited to share a point of view around what it could mean for this audience specifically, and how we think that this entire business could potentially shape and evolve over the next 5, 6, 7 years. And so I don't think it's a secret. IFI published $176 billion in terms of total industry size in 2022. And we know that that comes from a variety of different sources, and not just gift cards themselves. And I think that's where the opportunity exists, alongside of the way that those gifts are actually delivered. We had done some research ourselves with CoreSight, and we publish this on an annual basis, and it breaks down the existing and then what we are able to arrive at the future of the market size. And gifting overall is just touching $700 billion in the US in 2021, and that will evolve into over $845 billion when we turn the corner of 2025. What I want you to pay most attention to is how we broke out the corporate gifting product type, or gift type, or reward type, between products, classic products, and then actual gift cards. Both huge categories, both huge opportunities, and both ones that I think, if you have the chance to participate in both, would maximize the program yourself. And so, no secret, right? The idea behind it are driving value in relationships with employees and with customers, and making people, the recipient, feel valued. I think it's important not only for employee, but for also the opportunity that exists with your customers and your partners and your prospective customers. And this is all the narrative that you're using out there, probably as you go and talk to your customers about buying more gift cards from your organization. I want to just remind us, when we look at that though, that the product side is actually really big and it's meaningful. And yes, gift cards in the variety of form factors, whether they be plastic or digital, will be the likely most expected purchase categories as we go into the next 12 months. But I don't want us to forget about all of these other categories that are out there. And so when we look at this problem, we're challenging ourselves and our clients and our partners to think about stored value in a different way. And historically, that has meant I need to put a piece of money on top of a piece of plastic, or an email, or a text, or pick your favorite delivery channel, to give that option to the recipient. And that's what we're out there selling generally. But no one ever said it had to be money. Right, and that's where I think we can begin as an industry to reimagine what sits on top of it. I've certainly heard and read of new inspirations behind what could be delivered on a piece of stored value, or on a stored value rail. And we come from a background that says actually products are just as reasonable to put on top of this system as currency is. And there's interesting advantages to that, especially for those that are trying to sell stored value into this corporate gifting channel. It means that you now can access your entire catalog, whatever that is, and make that available to your customers. They may not always want to sell $100 or give $100 in the very sort of transactional way that that is delivered. And so we've looked at how do you actually enhance the experience itself, make it more connective, make it more thoughtful, map back to some of these key initiatives or key reasons why corporate gifting is a market in the first place. And then, of course, what are you actually giving to people? And we know through behavioral science study that people actually value things more than they do money, especially at these connective moments. And so Alex is going to take us through a couple of use cases that we've been able to merge these worlds and bring back the idea of putting the gift back in the gift card, I guess, is the way that we'll say it sometimes. And it's not always about the money. In a lot of cases, it's actually about the product. And so I'm going to kick it over to Alex, but I think we're going to start with a little demo just to give you some inspiration.
Yeah. Thanks, John. I appreciate you going through all the data so I get to show off all the fun, bells and whistles of the platform and talk a little bit more about our approach. I'll start while you're pulling up the demo to, chat very briefly about kind of what we're doing as an organization. So, we started years ago really on this individual level. How does Alex send John a gift for his, birthday upcoming? When we look at corporate, it's obviously a very different mindset. I'm trying to give thousands of people a gift at one individual time. So how do we bring that same personalization in that one-to-one level? How do we bring that into the corporate world and expand on it? So much like we took a different approach where we focus on products as well as gift cards, in these scenarios, what do we do on top of that to add personalization to make it feel like I'm getting a gift from a brand and I'm expanding that relationship, deepening that relationship with these individuals. So go ahead and hit play. I'll let this play through as I chat through. So a couple of kind of steps along here. We start with experiences around what we're doing as what this gift is for. It's not just a generic, hey, here's a web page, pick an item and go, have fun with it. Our story is all about what these gifts are meant for. I'll let Vicki talk.
I loved hearing everything you had to say. Thanks for the hard work. Really appreciate all your effort. You guys are fantastic. Sending you a little gift as a token of my appreciation. Love you. Bye.
So part of those steps that we brought into this platform is not only these themes around the story, what we're trying to bring into these gifts itself, it's also that personalization. It comes from a person, a company that a person is sitting behind, whether it's a loyalty gift, it's a CEO saying, hey, thanks so much for your business over the year. We'd love to give you something. Or if it's Vicki in this scenario, giving away special gifts for rewards or people a part of the VIP incentive exchange. Really great experience to add those personalization steps and individualize these gifts, expanding on what we can give away. So as Gretchen was mentioning before, talking about products, what we're seeing here are actual items, physical products that we're pulling from retail partners of ours that are sitting on top of stored value rails. So this item here, we're seeing, it's an actual jacket, but there's the exchange ability in there. You can get your attributes. You can pick your different colors. You don't have to ask someone for their size, which no one wants to do. They're telling us all this freely. So they're ensuring themselves that they're not only getting, the product and the color that they want, because there are choices in there, but they're also getting that size appropriately and making sure that they're getting everything individually that works best for them. This, again, rides on the rails of gift cards in our platform. So you saw before that there's exchange opportunities. We can bring in other retailers and give people kind of a vast variety of things to choose from, ensuring people that they get exactly what they want. If they land on a product like you see here with this jacket, we're asking for their shipping information, meaning you can give thousands of people gifts. You don't need to know their shipping information. We're capturing all that in our platform for you too. And then the last step is we have this true two-way communication. We offer the ability to include things like thank you notes. This really, honestly, it started as a kind of a nice to have when we first put this in our platform. Hey, let's see if anybody uses it. Who knows? you'd be blown away by how many people actually choose to take this step to say thank you back to a company that just sent thousands of gifts out. Our parent company, Synchrony Financial, sends tens of thousands of gifts out at a time, consumer credit related. We're getting many thank you notes back in that scenario. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm receiving a gift like this from a consumer credit company. Really interesting sentiment comes through, so much so that we're looking at this as roadmap items for additional features. For instance, why can't we include a video? Why can't Alex or John record a video and send it back to Alex for giving that individual gift? Whether it's, again, one person or it's a large scale corporate gift where we're sending thousands at a time, these thank you notes become really interesting. Our clients love it just about more than anything. So great little demo there. If I had 3 demos to show you, I would, because it really gives you the breadth of kind of how different each one of these experiences looks like. I'll talk through some of the use cases now that you see here that we just wanted to highlight in this scenario. So the first one I wanted to bring up is, we're selling. We're all here selling. We're all looking for ways to increase revenue in our organizations. There's thousands of approaches to this. I'll highlight a couple here for internal teams, as well as, marketing and brands that we can really expand out on some items here. So the images you see there on the right are really these internal sales teams. Hey, I've got, I'm a ATV organization, and I'm looking to, sell as many of these items as I can over the course of, the Q4. Let's put some incentivized gifts around there. The way that we approach this, where we have this digital delivery, we have the ability to include products, we have the ability to include stored value as well, it gives us a little bit more freedom to ensure that people are getting something that's actually going to incentivize them. The goal is to get them to do their job and push as much as they can. And so let's get those spiffs out there and reward them in special ways. So internal teams, you can look at this as individual, meaning, hey, Alex's team, Alex's sales team, they're great. We've got a couple high performers. Let's reward those individuals, or let's make it a team game. Let's push this as a whole group, or call it a dealership. If I'm sticking with that ATV model, let's reward that entire dealership with something in this that they're getting as a choice. More macro level, think of marketing examples for brands where, maybe it's off peak and we need to do something to push Q3 because we're a little behind. Let's look at these as incentive opportunities to do things like, buy one, get ones. This happens in the gift card world across the board all the time. Why can't we do this in the world with products that sits on top of stored value? So, hey, I've bought a new item. I've gone in, I've made a purchase. I now get a reward as a gift. That gift can actually be a product that might expose me to a whole nother product line that I didn't even know existed inside of that retailer. So really interesting way to kind of play around with this as an incentive.
Yeah, Alex, just a quick question.
Yeah.
Is this a global platform that serves worldwide destinations? And if global, are you shipping from, I think they mean any specific destination or any destination?
Yeah, great question. So today, GiftNow, we're internally US, so we're stateside only today. We have some capabilities to get to regions nearby, so think Canada and Mexico. Definitely roadmap items for us to expand globally across the world. So naturally for us, we have a lot of requests in our world for Europe as well as APAC. So we're working towards those. A couple of the challenges there come with shipping around the world today is not an easy thing. So we're working on kind of pulling in from supply from different areas. We like to piggyback on a lot of the retailers that we work with today, meaning we're integrated into retailers in the States mostly today. So as we expand our platform and work into those other regions, then that opens up the opportunity for the global side. So talking a little bit more in the next use case, thinking about employee recruiting. This is one that's kind of near and dear to our heart. We do this a ton, not only with our parent company, but a bunch of organizations in the States today. Hiring people is hard. Hiring really good talent is hard as well. It's competitive. We went through kind of a great, resignation across the country. I don't know if that's necessarily still going on. It's actually probably, tougher today to hire talent than it was even a couple of years ago. And so a couple of the things that we've done with some of our partners inside both retailers as well as other corporations outside of the retail industry is utilize gifting from an employee engagement standpoint and recognition as you're talking to these talent. The interesting side here is one of the retailers that we worked with does a ton of college events. So you're on campus, you're hiring fresh recruits out of college, and you're trying to get them to come to your organization and start a career. Not only start, but hopefully stay in your organization for a long time. Some of the things that we've done with this individual retailers, we'll be able to power these recruiters that are on campus to actually gift in that moment, meaning we can send this via text message, you can scan a QR code and you can hand that postcard with your brand logo on it, and actually give somebody immediate gratification. Hey, wow, they must really actually like me. They think I'm talented. They want to hire me. I can get that person a gift right then and there in that moment. The cool part there is because we're piggybacking on those stored value rails, but as John was alluding to before, we're sticking products on top of that gift card, is we're actually exposing people to that product for that retailer. So you're not only, rewarding that person, you're also, I wouldn't say training in this sense, but you're giving that person exposure to the products that you're selling as a retailer, giving them the ability to touch and feel that quality right then and there, and have that exposure happen right away. You're getting that buy-in a lot faster within these organizations. And it's a great, interesting way to do this. We also do this a lot by event, meaning, so I mentioned the campus recruiter side, but if you're doing other types of events, or you're just, hey, I've got an open position, we have the ability to look at these as individual campaigns and tell a different story for each one. So this isn't a blanket experience. I kind of mentioned this before. We looked at this whole corporate gifting world as we took this approach of one-to-one as we started. How do we bring that into corporate? So let's change the story. Let's change the themes. Let's get new videos from the actual recruiter that you're sitting across from, and helping deepen that relationship is a really big point around it. Next would be employee appreciation, kind of piggybacking on the same side of
Alex,
the side.
Can I just cut you off for 1 second? Because I want to make a really important point, which is that there's certain use cases that Alex is talking about where in reality, there's more value created in a product being exchanged as the gift over the currency. And that makes anyone selling just purely gift cards less at the table than those who can also do products in a meaningful way. And so when you look within your enterprise, whatever it is that you're selling, there's a chance to unlock the potential in those SKUs that create those feelings that we talked about earlier, right? The reasons to do this in the first place. It gives you a different story to tell to your customers. And I think that's a really important point to make, because today this category is very, very much isolated. There's a whole other group in wholesale or in bulk or whatever it is that sells items. And so this group specifically who sells stored value or sells gift cards can reimagine what they can now go and sell and get after. And these use cases, especially ones that have a more emotional sort of connection required as part of them, are going to perform well for your customers with products. And so having access to all of that inventory, that sort of virtual inventory, is what gives you new tools and weapons to go to market with.
Yeah, I mean, spot on, John, and cut me off anytime. I think that's a really good point to bring up. And we're doing that really across all the use cases. So we're highlighting 4 or 5 here. We've honestly have thousands on a daily basis that we're sending out and dealing with, and bringing that kind of vast assortment of products is really what helps us stand out from a technology standpoint, but also drive all that revenue to our partners as well. So, continuing the kind of conversations here around the employee appreciation side, you've got an opportunity to reward people internally now with your own items as well. So, very similar to the retailer that's, gifting products to their recruiting events, you can do the same thing inside the employee side. So, we're coming up on the holiday here. We've got a couple examples or screenshots of live campaigns that we have today, all focused around the Thanksgiving timeline. It's time to say thank you to our organization, to our employees, and to everyone that we can really think of. And so there's all sorts of reasons why that we're doing these. I think we've got some really strong partners that are looking to us to say thank you for us, or for them, and we're piggybacking on our platform to include kind of all those different types of appreciation events. And again, focusing on the products really help us. Continuing on real quick, I know we got only a couple minutes left, so I'll speed through these, but on the customer loyalty side, brands across the country, you're always incentivized to, improve those connections with your clients that are buying from you. And how do we expand that out? I love the idea of piggybacking on products in this scenario to expose people to new product lines, and even piggybacking on things like gift cards. We, in the industry, we know people, spend more than is on an individual gift card. So how do we look this as incentivizing people to come back and spend more? I also think, this is one of those, it's kind of tricky, but if you're thinking about, stock that's sitting in your shelves that maybe isn't moving as fast as you think, you also have an opportunity to piggyback on products here, and get rid of some of that stock that's sitting there. That's a slippery slope. We want to make sure that people are getting a gift that they like, but it's definitely opportunities to ensure that, they're getting something they're happy with. The retailer, the brand is doing something that makes the most sense for them as well. And this is macro level. I would really challenge you guys to rethink loyalty, and how you're doing rewards in that sense. Everybody's got a loyalty program today. We're all familiar with it. I might, buy a pair of pants from one organization. All of a sudden I'm inside of a loyalty program, and it just sits there and for years, and I'm not using it. There's different ways to engage these people. We do a really strong approach with our reward and incentive space in that side. And then lastly, when it comes to, client gifts here, or Emily, was there a question?
Yes, sorry, I couldn't get off mute fast enough.
Yeah, you're good.
Question is, are you selling this into program managers of loyalty and employee rewards programs, or only retailers to offer up on their own sites, or are both options?
Yeah, so it's really both options. The way that we've kind of approached a lot of this today kind of starts with our retailers, because that's who we're talking with on a regular basis. So they're bringing these ideas and call it rewards to their loyalty partners, as that gift delivery comes through our platform. We get to de-incentivize. We get to make that a really interesting reward. We're not changing that loyalty program in any way, shape, or form. However, we can also go through the other side. So if we're a loyalty organization that's looking at expanding and kind of standing out in the market and how you deliver these gifts. We don't want to be the point bank ever. However, we definitely do a really good job of individualizing and personalizing the rewards that come through it. So it's definitely both for sure. Love to chat with you guys. Lastly, on the client gift side. So, this is interesting. We work with not only a lot of the retailers and brands on a day-to-day basis, but we also work with a number of technology companies where we're pulling products from our retail brand partners and bringing those into this conversation as well. Holidays, same type of comment I made before. This is a time to say thank you. This is a time to deepen relationships. And when you do it kind of in an impersonal way, and I'm not saying gift cards are impersonal, but we're trying to improve on that step with things like products. It allows us to go to that kind of next step here in terms of allowing organizations to deepen those relationships with their clients. So it goes past just, hey, here's a gift, thanks so much. It's this idea of I'm getting a gift from an individual. It's Alex saying thank you to my client, recording a video, telling them how much they mean to me, and including products of items that we know that are popular, call it throughout the year in the corporate gifting sense. You can do the same thing across really any organization. Brand marketing teams for sure. All the technology organizations that we work with, from major organizations to smaller ones, are all looking to do this and enhance that relationship. It allows us to really piggyback again on the products, as opposed to, there's in the corporate world, a lot of people talk about, hey, I want to put my brand on something. In the tech space, I would say, at least, that comes with some wins. Hey, I've got an item, I've got a mug now with somebody's brand on it. I've probably got 30 of them sitting in the back of my cupboard. Why not actually piggyback on products from brand name retailers that people actually enjoy and use on a regular basis? I love the idea of things like coffee makers and air fryers. Air fryers happen to be one of the big gifts that are one of the popular gifts that we give out. People use those things on a day-to-day basis. You're going to get those reminders in your head of, I'm using a coffee maker from a company that I got on a day-to-day basis. It's just extra incentives. That surprise and delight happens once, and then it really happens honestly on a day-to-day basis. So it allows us to really play and get innovative around the types of gifts that we're giving out for client gifts.
Yeah, and I just want to bring it back again to this slide, Alex, as we're kind of running down the close here, around the current state of the union for most folks that are sitting here and listening to this, is living in this little box of $90 billion worth of market opportunity. The way to open up the 152 that currently isn't available is not by convincing them that gift cards are better. It's by putting gift cards into that environment. And you do that through the wonderful assortments that most of you are representing from the brands and the retailers that you work at. And closing that gap will allow more opportunity in more campaigns and in more channels that today you may not have access to because you're limited, pretty limited to the binary use of currency versus the assortment. You can drive more value within your current customers because now you can offer things that speak directly to the key reasons why people are doing this in the first place. And so it gives you some differentiation in the market. And so I'm excited kind of about this sea change concept in what belongs on top of stored value. And I'm really excited for the folks that are going to take that chance to broaden their portfolio of offered items and incentives into the market. So I'm gonna go back to the end here. Emily, is there anything on the Q&A side that we can talk about before we say goodbye?
Yes, we do have a couple questions here. The first one is wondering if you can, or maybe this could be a follow-up as well, go over the order process.
The order process. Is that what you said?
Yes.
So I'm not sure the context. Order what? If the question was really around, well, how do we get the orders for the products that people would elect as a result of getting a gift? We have programmatic ways of placing those orders into the existing infrastructure that every retailer has today in 2022, which is their digital order management system. And so that's kind of the neat infinity loop of our business, and why it's very different from others in the category is that we actually have awareness of the merchant environment. We're not just focused on the currency side. And so with a real simple integration with the retailer, we're able to seamlessly place these orders for fulfillment within the retail environment one by one as those gifts are redeemed by the recipients. And that means no one touches it. And guess what? It's all paid for by gift cards that we've activated as part of the reconciliation, and that turns up in your typical reporting that you would see from any gift card provider or any first-party gift card solution. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you. Yes, just a couple more here. In what ways do you optimize for gift redemptions for recipients?
That's a great question. I think that redemption means different things to different people. Our world, redemption means I've elected the sweater, and the gift card never gets revealed to the end recipient unless they say, I don't want the sweater. I would like to have a gift card of equal value, in which case that gift card is exposed. So the redemption window itself, and that's a main KPI that our retail partners from the first party side look at us to solve for, is closing that gap between delivery and redemption. When it's a blank slate and it's $100, that can sit in the drawer for who knows how long before I realize or remember the next time I go to fill in the blank retailer that I actually have $100 in credit. Cool, let me make sure I put it in my pocket and bring it with me. When that's delivered as an assortment or a selection of items, you've given me something to start with already. And so that window is actually very, very, very narrow. Most product gifts that are delivered on gift cards redeem, or they convert in sub 24 hours. Yeah. And that's unheard of in the gift card business, right? And so the CFO will really appreciate that. Anyone that's responsible for carrying that balance will really appreciate that. So it's spun up on stored value. It's issued through your existing processor, but the conversion window is very narrow. On the other side, if it is just purely a gift card, we have a number of techniques that are built into our platform to programmatically inspire those recipients to use that gift card. And you'll start to see in the future that we will be closing that gap in the product assortment as well in that same that same experience track. So we're looking forward to sharing those types of innovations with this community as they become available.
Great, thank you. And that brings us just a little over time. So I think we will wrap it up here. So I just want to say a huge thank you to John and Alex for sharing your insights and your time with us today. And as a reminder to our attendees, the recording will be available on the IMA website. And you know, Alex, John, if there are questions that attendees have following this, you know, they can reach out to us, we can direct them to you, or maybe we'll share your contact information in a follow-up.
Absolutely. And anyone that wants to reach out, just email hello@giftnow.com, and that will make it to all of us.
Perfect. Great.
Thanks, Emily.
Yeah, thank you again.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
And thanks for everyone who joined. Have a great day.
Thank you.